Hello and welcome back to the Building Bigger Lives podcast. Again, Michael Regan, along with my fabulous co-host, Kathryn Pedersen. And today we bring a guest back into the podcast, our good friend and my cohort leader, Greg Harkavy, who is a really long running member of the Building Champions team. He happens to know the founder personally and is going to spend some time with us today unpacking a topic we're both excited about. And Kathryn gets to really genuinely tap into these two coaches and their excitement for the return of the Building Champions experience. And some of you have attended this event in the past. And if you have, you know, generally speaking, the mission and purpose. Some of you have heard of it and don't really know what it's about. And there could be one of you out there that is thinking, I have no idea what they just talked about. And we hope by the end of this, you're not only going to understand what it is, but maybe even be excited to join us in September. But before we dive into the details, I want to welcome my fabulous co-host, Kathryn, into the screen.
All right. Well, today's going to be fun. First, I'm in the room with two coaches. Oh, but second, we're talking about the Building Champions experience, which really is an experience. So it's going to be fun to talk about some of our past experiences at Experience.
And Greg, it's great to have you with us again. You were with us talking about life planning as a business strategy last time. And maybe that's a good segue to what we do at the experience. Good to have you again today into the podcast.
Great to be back on. I thought you would never allow this to happen again.
That would be awkward considering the beautiful sponsorship we have from Building Champions. Greg, you're also a co-owner in the company. I say you've been around since the founder. You truly are the person who I think has the perspective of the whole picture here. Maybe tell our audience briefly why the experience exists in the first place and what it is designed to look like in 2026. Give us a little bit of your story.
Yeah, well, it's hard to talk about this other than using the word and experience, and it's in the name, it's the experience. But that's what it is. It really is an experience. It's not a seminar. It's not an event. It's immersive. I look at it as it's a coaching immersion for people with some of our what I'd consider like richest frameworks, right? So 2008, those of us that are on this podcast are probably housing industry background. We know what that was like. And it was a real risk for us, but we saw a great need because of a proof of concept we did have, which was the Master's Coach program. It was both one-on-one coaching and quarterly in-person, bringing the best of the best into the industry to brainstorm and learn from each other. And we created experiences for people. And one of the most powerful ones, when I was still an originator, I happened to be lucky enough to join it when Todd Duncan and Daniel were running it. So I showed up as an originator, and it was on the life planning day. And this was every December when that used to happen in the Master's Coach program. The gift of taking time to reflect is so powerful that the speed at which we ran back in 2008, or for me, when I was a part of that life planning experience at the Master's Coach in the 90s, I think, probably. Gosh, time flies. We're just always busy. We don't take time to think. We don't take time to reflect. And we operate in silos. So one of the key frameworks, and we talk about three elements with the experience. It's reflect, plan, and connect. I like to say it differently, though, because the order is different. We first give people space to reflect by very structured exercises and experiences in incredible settings that cause people to slow down and to think a little more deeply than you would in the day-to-day. So we create the structured space, and then we help them connect with other people, and they share their experiences. What did you learn from that? What was even the emotion or the epiphanies or whatever hit you that you can't do at other speeds? So we create this pace, if you will, that's slower. And then like-minded professionals get together and share. And they start talking about their dreams and their aspirations and their challenges. And that part is beautiful. And then the last part is, well, we're coaches. We want to make sure that you just don't say that was a wonderful time, but what do you put in pen to paper? What are your plans? So I usually say it out of order. If you look at any of our language, it's reflect, plan, and connect. It's like, no, it's reflect, connect, and plan is what you're actually going to experience. So it was 2008, the market was tanking, and we felt like we needed to take a flyer. There's nothing that was available to the general public to do this. So that's where the genesis was, you know. Daniel might share it a little bit differently, but it was risky for us as a
That's
company.
okay. This is the
Yeah.
Greg Harkavy perspective, and I love
Yeah.
that. And Kathryn, I've got to tell you, what Greg is describing in 2008, you and I remember very well as active originators, and it inspired me in 2009 to come visit the great state of Oregon for the very first time. In fact, I remember landing at PDX because I didn't know you could fly into Redmond and just drive a short drive down to Sunriver. I flew to PDX and rented a car and drove through a tunnel of trees up and down Mount Hood in order to get to Bend and then south to Sunriver. And the experience started for me, Greg, on the drive itself. I remember taking, like, I'd pull over on the side of the road and take a photo and send it to Lori and say, I don't know where I am, but this is, I've never seen anything like this. It was part of the experience was the atmosphere of Central Oregon. I think it is maybe one of the most interesting places I've ever seen, and it creates the right atmosphere for what we get to do. And I remember getting there in 2009, and you called it, what was it, an immersive coaching experience?
Yeah. Yeah.
Great description, because that's exactly what it felt like. Was it gave me permission to really feel free to focus on first reflecting on my thoughts and my vision and my dreams, because at that time we were in a reset and we needed that. Without that, it was very easy to think dark things like, this is never going to get better. I'm never going to be able to do this again. And didn't prove to be true, but I give a lot of credit to the space you created at that particular experience. And it allowed me to craft a different vision that I hadn't imagined up until that point, which later became part of my plan and ultimately became true when I joined the team in 2013. So there was a 4-year window in which what happened in 2009 for me actually materialized as a full-time coach of Building Champions. Had I not been there, I don't know that I would have ever allowed myself the space to articulate that clarity. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm not suggesting that any of you who are attending are all going to join Building Champions, but it'd be fun to find out that somebody does. And it was a really important time in my life. And then, I counted that 4 years later, probably 4 or 5 years later, Kathryn, you show up at an experience when I'm a coach on the team and I get to meet you for the first time. I think we'd been maybe introduced over the phone once or twice, but we hadn't met in person. Tell me about your experience at the Building Champions experience.
So what's still very clear in my mind, other than of course meeting Michael, who I remember was sitting in the back of the room at the time, and so that's still solidified in my brain. But I remember taking my packet, as you get this packet, this like notebook, and going and sitting on this bench in this beautiful Sunriver. And just to describe the environment a little bit, Michael described it on the way there, but there's all these cute little cabins. And I remember it was kind of like chilly, but not too chilly. So you could go outside, but you were still felt that coziness of that environment that just, I think, is really makes it possible to think and be by yourself and really just focus on your life and your plan, which we don't get to do a lot. We're so focused on everybody else's life and everyone else's plans. So I remember sitting there and writing and thinking, like, it was really the first time that I was able to write a life plan, even though I had done it before in a different way. And I think that really it more solidified the process for me than anything else. I think back to that when I think about writing my life plan, I think back to that moment on that bench.
Well, that's a really great reflection of your own personal experience, and one that I think if our audience has attended, you're bringing back that memory for them as well. They're thinking about, oh yeah, the power of that life planning experience when I could actually be alone with my thoughts and not feel rushed and not feel like I was under some sort of a deadline. I mean, we do have a structure, folks. There is an actual agenda for the event. But as Greg said, a lot of the agenda is built around creating space to think, space to connect and interact, and then space to plan. Greg, as you look at the room that has come in the past and we can anticipate what this might look like this fall. Tell the audience a little bit about your experience with the diversity of people and specific talent and leadership that shows up at the Building Champions experience.
Yeah, it's a special group of people, and there are so many different industries now that are represented. I mean, 2008, it was heavily chicken and mortgage is what we would say. We had a lot of people from Chick-fil-A and people from the mortgage industry. It continues to diversify, and as our client base does, but they're all thought leaders. They are all people that want to become a better version of themselves. So you have very inspired people. Once in a while, there might be somebody that brings a team and the teammates don't know what they're coming into. And we talk about this because they'll be like, the end of the time they're leaning in. It's so different, right? The experience creates something where people realize, oh my gosh, this is actually for me. This, I talk about it as being a gift of time that we give people, unlike anything else. And it allows them to really realize this is an opportunity for me to go deep and connect with people, whether it's with the team or not. But there's nobody that shows up that isn't going to inspire the other person they speak with.
I really want to grab that thought for a second, Greg, because our audience is made up of a similar diversity of talented people. Some of them are entrepreneurial, independent thinkers, independent operators. Others lead teams, and in some cases lead large groups, maybe regions and divisions with lots and lots of leaders under their responsibility. You just reminded that audience that this might be a great opportunity for them to give that gift of time to the valuable teammates that they are developing their leadership abilities, and give them the space to really go deep with those thoughts so that they can bring more to the table when they come back to the team.
Yeah. And I mean, even to that, I really deeply believe that not everybody has either the resources or time to commit to one-on-one coaching for a year. And that investment's significant and it's well worth it. But if you wanted like teammates just to have a really deep impact for a few days around our coaching frameworks with our whole team there serving them, it seems like you're getting so much for that investment of time. Most people that have gone to the experience will say it's a memory of a lifetime.
Mm.
In essence, many people that, because we haven't done one in a while, have said, would you please bring it back? Because of
Yeah.
the experiences they have. Or so we have somebody, you think about diversity. This person is a restaurateur, a serial entrepreneur, and the impact that it's had on his life and the team he's brought was so rich. Year after year, he's like, Greg, with Building Champions, please do it again. Well, he's already signed up this year and he's bringing his sons and his
Oh,
teammates because he wants his sons to get the benefit of what happens at the experience. So it's just a really cool thing. For us, I feel like it's a privilege that we get to serve people the way we do as an entire team. But it's the impact on the people that attend that's, I don't know if there's anything like it.
hey, I have a question for you for this year. You haven't had it in a while, and
Mhm.
so it's coming back, let's say. So what are you most excited about with this BCE this year?
Well, the three elements that we talked about of reflect, connect, and plan. I am excited for what's going to happen with people in this environment. But when I say, okay, that is, in my opinion, some of the secret sauce, but I'm excited for people to experience new content, new frameworks that we've been working on for years since the last experience. So those that have attended before, they're gonna get, I think, new impact, even though some of the most proven parts of why this experience is so great. But we look at leadership from three different levels: self-leadership, team effectiveness, and organizational impact. So we have frameworks in all of those that are really helpful. I would say that we might focus a little bit more on what we call the inner gear or the inner game, even more than we did in the past to really help people with their mindset and how their operating system as a leader should be focused. But I don't think there's anybody, regardless of their position, it would be exempt from the content. It applies to all. And there's breakouts that people get to choose. So they can also select, oh, this is the one that I think I really want to get after. So I'm excited to see why people show up and what they experience from being there.
Kathryn, I'm going to take a different angle on that same question because for many folks that maybe made this part of their routine back in the window of 2009 to 2019, they annually scheduled some time because this was their chance to unplug from their tactical execution and really be more strategic and thoughtful about their planning. They haven't had that opportunity now in, I guess if the math says we're going on 7 years, Greg. If that's the case, our friend Ken Perry, one of the Building Champions strategic partners, told me I remember how important it was for me to cast vision in that exercise. And yet I've been living out the version of that I worked on for years. And I'm realizing that I need to recast it again. It's been exercised. I went from a future state to a present state. And in some cases, the past is already part of the vision. It's already happened. And so if that's you out there, that's one of the things I'm excited about is let's recast. Let's look at this through the lens of a different season of your life. Maybe you were raising kids the last time you came to the experience, and now those kids have grown. Maybe you had grown kids the last time you came, and now you have grandkids. There's lots of different seasons in life. Maybe you were, a team member playing an integral role, and now you're leading the team. Wherever that might be in your personal journey of personal leadership, team influence, and organizational impact, the experience offers you an opportunity to reset and recast from 2026 looking forward into that future. And that's exciting to me because I think without vision, we're all capable of losing our way. It's, we talk about the drift as a narrative. The drift isn't particularly choosy. We're all capable of finding ourselves in one. And the experience gives us a bit of a lighthouse, a bit of a reminder to, hey, let's steer clear of the rocks and let's get out into the safe water again. So I'm excited for that, Kathryn.
I can't wait. I'm at a perfect spot in my life to go to BCE with my daughter's last day of school is today. And so I'm starting just to gear up my brain of, okay, what's next? So it's a great time to go back if you haven't been. And when I went, I was with a group of people and we had some great discussions. And I think that's another piece that can happen is the discussions that happen at BC are very different than discussions at other places. And so I'm super excited to really connect with some people who will be there because it's always a great group.
Yeah, Greg, I think a lot of that, I want to give you credit for this, our friend Raymond, others who have influenced the experience, Daniel for sure, even some coaches that, aren't with the team any longer, but really have their fingerprints on what BCE was all about. I think that Kathryn's comment reflects the intentionality of not just asking really great questions, but creating an atmosphere in which those questions can actually be explored. And most of us need that from time to time. If we don't have that, we realize that we might be asking the wrong questions, therefore spending time on very inefficient or ineffective things. And you just, we're all busy. We're all living our lives in a very fast-paced world. And Kathryn, I'm glad you said that because you're right. Those conversations that happen sometimes at breakfast, sometimes on a break, sometimes maybe even a little breakout. We do those, we're, hey, go grab this group of 3 or 5 and we're going to walk out. And here is the discussion. I remember, Dave Savage and I ended up in a kayak canoe, I guess it would have been. Boy, 3 hours out on the Deschutes River, you can talk about a lot of important things. Those are all possible at Sunriver at the experience. Greg, we could talk forever about this, and I can't wait to get there. We're coming up in September. I hope our audience is getting excited enough to maybe go visit buildingchampions.com and check out some more information if they want the details. And we'll, of course, Kathryn, we'll put those in the show notes. We'll make sure they've got a link for that. But Greg, in closing, any thoughts you want to make sure our audience has heard from you? Again, one of the owners of the company, one of the original coaches who was part of the vision for the experience. What do you hope that you could leave them with today as they think about Building Champions Experience 2026?
Yeah, you asked like in preparation, what are some of your favorite memories? And that was so hard to just pick out oh, there was this one particular instance, but maybe that what we haven't shared yet is my favorite moments were probably the conversations I had with people in between. Presenting from the main stage or presenting in a breakout as a coach is wonderful, but when we actually get to have live coaching sessions with what people are going through, the very real conversations of helping people, you have 20 plus what I would consider the finest coaches you'll ever meet. Some of the best human beings that are there to serve. We're all there in a capacity, our entire team. And it's kind of funny. This is not my normal office. I'm used to being isolated in my office, and there's this glass door and you see people walking by. Most of those people that aren't coaches that come to do world-class hospitality and really create the spaces. I just think that the whole team, when we come together to bless you guys, the people that are going to show up, that you're going to have such an impact. If there's anything I'm confident, it's this will be absolutely worth your time. And your mindset has to be right for it. It might seem intimidating. I even sound a little bit weird, right? Like, wait a minute, you're going to go and sit and reflect. Sometimes that's scary and intimidating for people. You show up and it's not. It is such a wonderful gift. I guess the only thing I'm envious of is I wish I was taking those seats most of the time. Even though I love to serve, it's like, oh my gosh, you guys are having the most rich experiences. So.
Well, Kathryn, I'm glad you're coming back. I'm glad a bunch of our friends are coming back because I've talked to a few of them and they're all like you, excited about the opportunity to revisit it. Greg, I'm really appreciative that you were able to share some of your perspective and some of your stories. And while you may feel a little bit distracted by that window and all the people walking by, here's what I take from that. I take it as Greg Harkavy has pull power because I've never seen this much activity at the Building Champions office as is existing in this brief 30-minute recording. And that's the pull power at the Building Champions experience. Greg will be there. Therefore, you can count on a lot of buzz. And I want to be a part of that. Kathryn, thanks for sharing some of your thoughts as well. And as we wrap this up, I just want to remind our audience, we all need opportunities to intersect our routines in order to level up. This might be one of those for you. So consider it. Our goal today isn't to pitch and sell an event. Our job today is to share with you an experience the three of us have had and that hundreds and hundreds of other thought leaders have had, and look forward to rejoining that opportunity this fall. So if that's something you're curious about, please do visit the link, do check out some of the details. And if you're willing to join us, just get prepared and get excited because it is going to be one of those moments, like Greg said, that you will reflect upon as one of the highlights of your career. And I'm confident of that because it happened for me. It's happened for the three of us, and I hope it happens for you. Thanks for joining this episode of Building Bigger Lives. We look forward to having you follow us on all of the platforms that are available and joining us again on a podcast each Wednesday. Thanks.